Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to the Scan Tool Network. In this video we are taking a closer look at the iCarsoft CR Max in a Renault vehicle. So we're in a Renault Clio right now, and we're just basically going to show you these the iCarsoft CR Max screens when working on a Renault vehicle, what kind of things you can expect to see on screen, the things it will and won't do, and we'll show you this tool actually diagnosing a fault code and what you can expect to see when you do diagnose a fault code with the CR Max. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say that this tool is available at Diagnostic World. Now I'll pop the link in the description below this video, because there are fakes, there are clones, they can damage your vehicle, so it's not worth going down that route. Make sure you use the genuine and official products. Okay, so this is the CR Max. It has a cable running from the top of the tool into the diagnostic port, which in this vehicle is like right under the radio section, and that's what allows the communication to take place between the vehicle and the tool itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, first of all, we'll click onto diagnostics. I'll just show you very briefly all of the manufacturers that it covers. So there's a huge range of manufacturers. So maybe you have a Renault as one of your vehicles, but maybe you also have a few other vehicles in your family, your friends circle, or maybe you're looking after some work vehicles or something like that. You're a small garage, workshop, mobile mechanic, and you maybe just don't know what kind of vehicle you'll be getting in from day to day. But on this vehicle, it's obviously a little Renault Clio. So we need to find the Renault option, which is here. It's a French manufacturer, not commonly seen overseas, like in this, well, certainly not in America, I don't think, but they're very popular, very big in Europe. So we're going to click on to, there's two ways you can find your vehicle. You can either find it by selecting your vehicle, so I'll do that first of all. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just show you this, these are the vehicles that it will cover, so you can have a closer look when you need to, or if you want to pause the vehicle. So you can see it covers a huge range of Renault vehicles, and it does like vans, small commercials, as well as your domestic and your passenger vehicles. So those are the manufacturers, sorry, those are the Renault vehicles it will cover. If we go into VIN identify and click OK, just click on read, it's found the VIN number, click OK, so it recognises that it's a Clio 3, and then it takes us into this screen here, which is the screen from which you do most of your diagnosing. Okay, so what you can do is, if you go into control unit, what that allows you to do is it knows what systems are generally going to be installed into this vehicle, so it puts them all in a big list here, so you can scroll down and you can start diagnosing any of these systems. Important to know that you won't be able to diagnose all of these systems, because some of these systems won't be installed into a Renault Clio. It's just that some Renault Clios, they can have these systems installed. Okay, so what I'll do is, I mean, what you can assume though is that the tool will cover all of the main systems within any vehicle. So, you know, we've got the main systems here, like engine, the transmission, the ABS, the airbags, and then a few more systems as well. Okay, so let's just have a look while we're here to see if there's any faults in the engine system of this car. So we've got two faults there. We don't have a check engine light or anything like that, so what we can assume is that these faults here, they are kind of less important faults. If the ECU deems any fault as being serious, then it will put on a warning light, and I'll show you that in a second as well. So these are two faults that have come up for this specific Renault Clio. Not too worried about them, but I will have a closer look at them off camera when I've got a bit more time. But if you weren't sure what these fault codes meant, it's just really a case of putting the information into Google search engine, and if you're not sure what the fault is, you can guarantee that if you're getting the fault, somebody else will have had the fault as well. So don't be kind of put off by this information, which may seem like you don't really know what it means. Put it into Google and you will get the answers as to what you need to do. Okay, I mentioned earlier that if the ECU deems a fault as being serious, then it will put on a warning light. So you can see we've got an airbag warning light here and a spanner warning here, or wrench. If we go to the SRS system, we go to read fault codes, it's telling us now, it's giving us quite a few. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faults, and all sort of different bits of information, seemingly to focus on the passenger airbag system. So That's what we need to look at with this particular car. Could be a sensor, could be some sort of like, well, actually the tolerances are outside of the recommendation. A network fault, state active, open circuit, so that would suggest the connection. So we'll have a look at that in any case. But generally what you'll probably find is that, let's just see what, because we haven't done anything to sort out that fault, but if we click onto clear fault memory, let's see what happens. Erasing the fault codes, erase operation done. So you see it's actually kept the warning light on. That's because we haven't taken any action, we haven't done anything. So now it's come back, right, so now it's come back, it's cleared the old faults, which I assume were just like historical faults. So there've been faults in the past and then they're no longer present. So these are the two active faults, okay? So yeah, that makes more sense, and it's something to do with the connection of the passenger seat. So we'll look at that in greater detail, but it just shows you that if you don't fix the fault, you won't be able to turn off the warning light, and that is the ethics of diagnostics. You know, that is how diagnostic systems work, okay? So that's just a brief overview of the code reading. Then we come into the service option here. So these are like service functions and a lot more sort of, well, I wouldn't say complex, but more detailed things that you can do to your vehicle now. All of the service functions that are in this particular list here don't necessarily mean that they are compatible with this car. This car is kind of like an older car. I think it's like something like a 2007 model, 2007 or 2008 model. So a lot of these systems weren't really in vehicles at that time. So if you were diagnosing maybe like a 2015 or 2016 model, you would probably find that a lot of these special functions or service functions would be more applicable to the particular vehicle. So it'll do oil service, you know, electronic park and brake, open and close the calipers, ABS brake bleeding, injector coating, new battery registration, DPF regeneration, and a few more there as well. Like I say, it all really depends on what vehicle you're in. If we go back to diagnostics and I select this vehicle again, so I go to Renault, I'm going to ask it again to automatically find the vehicle unless it keeps it in its memory. Yeah, no, it hasn't. Right, so VIN identity, read, okay, so then we get back to this screen. Then from this screen, if you click on the service tab, what it'll do is it'll look to see which of those service functions will be suitable for your specific vehicle. So in this particular case, it's found out that it can do these service functions, alright? So, you know, take of that. It works differently on vehicle to vehicle, so it doesn't necessarily always give you 100% correct information, but it should generally get you in the right direction, okay? If you wanted to go and maybe look at something like, no, I don't want to go, I want to, I've come out by accident, so I'll have to go back in. I want to go and show you some live data. So if we go to the engine, we go to view data, this is what we call live data, so it tells you exactly what's happening at any given section in the vehicle, within the engine module, that is. So you can do different live data on different parts of the vehicle. You can do live data on your ABS wheel speed sensors, things like that. But these are like, it's good for looking at like temperatures, fuel trims, throttle positions, oxygen sensors, O2 sensors, idle controls, and you can see I'm like this far down, so there's quite a lot of information there. I'll just scroll through them here just so you get a good idea of the types of live data that you can get, and like I said, this is just the engine system. So you could come out of this, you could go into the ABS system, and you can find specific live data for that part of the vehicle. All right. So if we come out of this, one thing I'll show you, you can do quick test or automatic scan. So if you click on automatic scan, what that's going to do is that's going to find which systems are fitted to this vehicle, and it'll show you which systems it will allow you to actually diagnose and actually kind of find faults for, if that makes sense. So there we go, it's found these systems here. So it's not a great deal, like I say, it's an older vehicle, but you know, if you go to something like instrument cluster, no faults found, actuation tests, so you can put instrument panel needles. Okay, go start. It's gonna pop up the needles, so it'll show you that they are working. It's currently testing them. I think they used to call that like a needle sweep or something. There we go. Success. So then you could go symbol. Not sure if that would put on all of the warning lights. Testing. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. Instrument panel warning lights. Start. There we go. So it puts all of the warning lights on, so it'll give you a better idea as to whether a bulb is working or not working. So you can see everything in its full glory there. And there's lots of different things you can do as well, like different systems that you can do actuation tests on, bi-directional tests as well. Alright, so that is just really this tool in a nutshell. I just wanted to show you basically what you can expect. But you know, ultimately, the newer your vehicle, the more systems it's going to have installed, so the more you can access, the more you can use for the service functions, the more you can diagnose, the more you can get information from, if that makes sense. Okay, but it's a very good tool. It's perfect for anybody who wants to look after their own vehicles, anybody who wants to maybe say for example you're a mobile mechanic, or you have a garage or workshop, you have a fleet of vehicles to look after, whether you're an individual or you work for a company. These tools will really give you a lot of help and a lot of support, no matter what vehicle you have, because it just does such a huge amount of things on a huge amount of vehicles. Updates as well are free for life, so just remember that. Okay, so that is the CR Max, and as I say, I'll pop the link in the description below this video, because there are fakes, there are clones. You don't want to go down that route because they can damage your vehicle. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope it helps.